small town of Helper, Utah, that was very much like you, that is now arts. It's all art. But somebody took this space, and if you go in there, it's a business center. They have gigabit internet in there, and they did a really nice job outside. And inside, people just go in there and rent a table. Just rent a table for a couple hours. So if we're working in a hotel and if I was here and I need to get online and need to do something where I need fast internet, they go there. It's also a gallery. But all these buildings here downtown have tremendous potential. And it's just, what do you do first? Is we've got to get people downtown consistently, and if we can do that, you will get them back. And so, by the way, last night, finishing up our whole assessment, we did go down to Oriole Kitchen, and it was open. It was great food, but we had no idea. We thought it was going to be a sit down. It's more of a takeout. But it was great, and so you know what? We added them to our list. You know what? When you promote all this stuff, it's amazing. And I'd probably put the fried chicken on MJ's there. But you know what? Look at this. All of a sudden, this is why you should make Oglesby your destination. You already have the visitors right next door. None of this stuff was really expensive to do. So, the sole focus of every elected official, from your mayor, school boards, it doesn't matter, is to improve the quality of life of the citizens. I mean, from the president on down, that's supposed to be the goal. Governors, you name it. And you know what? Downtown's created a sense of community. It's your third place. We are in the age of third places. It is your nucleus. First place is the place we live, it's our home. The second place is the place we work. The third place is the place we go to hang out. It's the sidewalk cafes. It's your plaza. I mean, Starbucks built an entire brand around third places. And you know what? Downtown's helping reduce leakage of locally earned money going somewhere else, which you have in spades. And the quickest way to reduce leakage, make downtown a priority. I mean, this is the future downtowns is like this. They help carry the burden of local taxes. And guess what? They're the best recruitment tool you could ever have. If you have kids graduating from, I don't care whether they're graduating in Peru or wherever if you have kids graduating in this area and they say the second I graduate, I'm blowing this town, this is how you fix that. So they come back. And that's what they do, is they bring young families back, because you have job opportunities now. There's nothing you can invest in besides schools that will give you a greater, faster return on investment than your downtown. But the big deal is, downtown's about where we go after working on weekends. So your plaza, peak hours, 4 to 9. By the way, another reason I have the stage back there, behind the stage, is residential. The stage is facing away from the residential. So all the sound is projected toward Walnut. Okay? So, I want you to watch this video when you get a chance. You saw those 4 about downtowns. This was a 7-year study we did. And there you go. I want you to take a look at this next picture and tell me, what do you see? You see guys sitting in the benches. Where do you think the wives are? Shopping. Now, that is not staged. But you know what you need to do? Make benches. And by the way, you'll always wonder why we put front porch swings out here. We may never send those. It makes your home feel welcoming. You should have benches of crusher facades all up and down Walnut Street. And on each side of the bench should be flanked with a pond. It just says welcome. These are like $79 benches you can get. Finally, you could do all the marketing in the world that will bring people always be only once. The only thing that ever brings people back is your product. The primary activity that drew them. And I'm talking about outside of Starved Rock in the parks. I'm talking about your plaza, your activity center, or adventure center. What is that drew them into town and brought us back at the end of the day? Then while we're here, what else do we have? You know, other activities, other events. Your amenities, oh, we got free public parking right over there. We got public restrooms, you know, all of those kind of things, and then the people they interact with. So, in closing, I'd love to see you do the Destination Oglesby team. Just create the dot. You know, create this team of volunteers. I'm not big on word committee, but a team of people say, how can we help the state parks? How can we be their best friend? And how can we get our brochures and things out there in those areas? And then, you know what, you make a list of these. There's 67 of them, and like a third of them have to do with the state parks and DNR properties. You know, and those are things you get together with teams. And you can carve these down in no time, and you just say, oh, let's do some low-hanging fruit. Let's do some low-hanging things. But I'm doing that adventure center. If you can get a building, I don't know what it's going to take to remodel the inside of the building. There are grants for things like that. Because you're creating a business incubator. Almost everything in there is private business. You give DNR, say, hey, do you have a staff person that come and help us with this one, or parks? I think it'd be fantastic. I think what you got is something pretty cool. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. You have all the potential in the world. None of this stuff is that expensive. Just taking that and doing that plaza and then putting stuff on it and then later on do a splash pad. One thing is, if I get out of this and go back, one thing I will say is that that eventually on this whole plaza thing, let me find where did I do the last one. Maybe that's it. Is on things like this. You may end up needing to build you might need to build another building. You need a place where you can store stuff. So where do you put the chess sets when you're done with them? Where do you put the Zamboni? So if you ended up, you know, if this property was say, hey, could we, you know, I don't know, there's cars back there and stuff, but I thought somewhere you might need to build a building or have some more storage where you put storage, because you want to change every 2 weeks. So that means there's 26 different things going on. By the Imagination Playground might go 2 weeks and then might come back 2 weeks later and another 2 weeks. So it doesn't have to be 26 completely different things. You just want it to always changing. Make sense? Any questions? Are you thinking, you can't wait for that guy to leave town. What you have here is phenomenal. It's beautiful. You know, most people think of the Midwest is Iowa, flat, cornfields. Well, you got them all around you. By the way, the other crop that's going right near town, are those potatoes? What are those? The lower crop, soybeans. Okay, that's soybeans. So, but anyway, what you have here, you've got the rivers, you've got the trails, you've got the canals, you've got the hills, you've got, even when you come over the bridge from Peru, down and before you turn left, you just have this decompression of getting south of the river. It's a phenomenal feeling. You know what? And you know what's cool about this is the state is already bringing 3.5 million people a year to your doorstep. It's not like you have to go somehow convince them to come out of Chicago. And by the way, we branded Wisconsin Dells as the water park capital of the world. Now, one thing you need to know, you've probably all been there sooner or later. We're still working with them to get them unstuck from the 70s. But you have to think about this. And I'm not saying you do water parks. I'm just saying you already got the natural assets. But Wisconsin Dells is a town of 2,500. If you take the town right next to them, like Delton, combine both, the population is 5,000. You know what their marketing budget is a year? $13 million. That's the power of creating a destination. For you, we're not trying to turn you into Wisconsin Dells or Disney. You have the natural assets right next to you. It's time that you monetize them. And I guarantee it will bring your downtown back. And we're not talking about bringing all 3 million people in your downtown. Heck, if we could get 500 people in your downtown, you know, throughout the year, and it's outside money being spent, you'll be singing all the way to the bank. So with that, questions?
I have 3.
Right. Yes.
Your international opinion on living on downtown streets on the first floor, open liquor on the sidewalks, and dogs in the park.
Okay, so Let me try to get these in order. People living downtown on the first floors, in those blocks, I would say no. Absolutely down towards the east end. Somebody even said you called it east end. Towards the east end, those are already residential. Past Spring Street, I would absolutely let those be residential. But in that core area, I wouldn't do residential on the first floor. I wouldn't. You would absolutely do residential above. And by the way, everything's all millennials are moving in downtowns above. Not true. You know who's moving in downtowns upper levels? Boomers. We're empty nesters. We don't need a yard. Millennials, when they start having kids there, they want to be like everybody else. They want to live in the suburbs. They want to have a yard. They want a place for the kids to go ride bikes. But you will get room. So I think upstairs living in your downtown would be fantastic. But in between Woodland and Spring, I wouldn't do first floor living. Okay? Number two, I think that doing, and this is, I think doing liquor on the street and sidewalk cafes, what most towns do is say, as long as we have a fencing, some kind of a barrier, and beer and wine. Hard booze can stay inside, I think that's fine, but beer and wine out of a sidewalk cafe, wine with a nice dinner is absolutely appropriate, and in many cities all over the country, most cities all over the country. Okay, third one was?
Dogs in the park.
Oh yeah, dogs. You know what? Everywhere we went in Starved Rock, we saw I even showed a picture of a couple walking their dog. Dogs are a big deal. I think that dogs should be allowed in parks. I think you need to have little scooper bags and stuff like that. But I'm always shocked when I see places that say, we only have one park where dogs are even allowed. I don't know why. Dogs are a big deal. They're a big deal with millennials. They're a big deal with every generation. I think dogs should be allowed. And I think most people that are dog owners are pretty good. You can keep them on a leash. You say your dog needs to be on a leash, and we've got the little bags that you can do. And I think in downtowns, I love it when I see dog dishes outside the stores, stuff like that.
Do cities put up video surveillance and prosecute non-picker-uppers?
No. You know, I mean, I know where you're going with all this, but, you know, and I have not seen that. You know, and part of the thing is, when you start putting up warning or on surveillance and all, it makes you seem unsafe. And no, I have not seen that, but I also think that it's important that dog owners do take care of it, because otherwise, you know, there's E. coli, there's all kinds of, so I mean, I understand where cities a lot of times want to reduce their liability. But I think sometimes you hurt your own citizens by doing that. But yes?
I'm a little surprised you haven't mentioned the two main corridors, 39 and Highway 80, which a lot of us think that there's so many travelers going on those corridors. Do you not feel that Oglesby should try to draw those people in?
Absolutely. For instance, when you come down 39, you have the visitor information, you just don't deliver on the promise. But I also think that down the road, if you built this adventure center, I would say the first thing you need to do with some of the funding people are paying rents is do billboards on 80 that say the Starved Rock, you know, whatever, visitor, adventure center, official visitor center, left on 39, second left, or whatever it is, you know, and to pull into Oglesby. I think you do need to do that. I mean, there's a lot of competition on Interstate 80, you know, obviously, but I do think you need to pull them in. Now, I didn't mention them because I think, number one, you got to figure out what do you have that will pull us off the freeways. And then once you've got that, say, now how do we tell people on those freeways that you need to go to Starved Rock this way? There's lots of other ways for them to get to Starved Rock without going here first. But yes, I mean, the fact that you're near this crossroads at 80 and 39, it's like, my God, you're not taking advantage of this at all.
Well, that was my point. Do we want to develop a reason for people to come off the highway to go to Oglesby versus, you know, what you're proposing here? I see two split.
But I think your adventure center, if people knew, you start putting state guides, you work with the state office of tourism, and I know those folks, and you start doing that, I think you will see them start promoting the fact that you've got the adventure center that can help people with their experience in all three parks, plus other areas. I mean, I'm sure there's more to do. You've got the Vermilion River, and I mean, you've got so much other stuff. I think that they will help promote that. But I thought the adventure center would be a good reason for visitors to start here. That's going to, and then your plaza is, at the end of the day, they come back. See what I mean? So I really thought those two things, I'm trying to create a catalyst, that will just get things started. And I thought those two, but then once you do that, you may need to do some billboard advertising, whatever, and say, look, we're 3 minutes off of 39. I mean, we also work down in Bloomington and Normal, so I've been up and down this corridor. I mean, there's another market for you that you should be drawing. Heck, they're a university town, they would be coming up here a heartbeat for your plaza. So that's what the adventure was. So what is the draw that would pull them off and make it worth coming down 80 and then coming down and you know what I mean? Versus taking a shortcut or going just through LaSalle or whatever. But that's what my whole idea of the Venture Center was. And I thought that would be the catalyst to start bringing downtown back to life. And then now, all of a sudden, pretty soon you're going to have retail and everything to go with it, so you can better monetize it. Yeah, but those two freeways, my gosh, you got 25, I think there's like 25 million people a year going through 80. And I don't know how many are on 39, but it's a lot. And you don't monetize it. Yes, ma'am.
2 questions. You said when you started out that you didn't talk with any business people. During your 4 days here, did you get a chance to talk with any people that are in business? And
Yes.
did you get to talk with citizens for their ideas and input?
No, that's why there's no recommendations here. They're just, we just came here like any first time visit we talked to business because we'd be sitting in the restaurants. And we heard interesting things, like a gal that was working at Cindy's now, said she'd worked there for 10 years under Delaney's, and she goes, she rolled her eyes, said, still trying to get used to it. Like it was a negative, so you get these kind of things, and I'm not casting stones or anything, but you just go, oh, really, this isn't that smooth a transition. But we talked to people that were in the businesses, but this was not about public, these are just ideas. We did not, this is not, we're saying you have to go do this. I'm just giving you some ideas. What we try to do were things, what could you do for pretty low cost to start revitalizing your downtown? But I'm really clear, I'm glad you asked it, this was not public input. I think that's important. I think it's critical that you ask your public what do you want to be when you grow up. I'm just telling you, if you want to import more cash, here's some easy ways to do it. They're just suggestions. This assessment is meant to be to start the conversation. You may take some of these, say, let's do those, and some of them may say, we're already working on it. Some may say, we just don't even want to go there. Totally up to you. It's just the conversation starter, and now what you have to do is decide, do we want to do any of this? Or do we want to go a different way? What is it we want to be known for, even? What's going to put us on the map? And what do we want? Do we care about downtown, even? One thing I would love to see is something other than bars in all these towns. I mean, that's what I see. Over here first.
As a city official, I'm thoroughly pleased with the presentation and what we got for our money. I mean that. Number 2, I think we have been trying to work towards some of the natural resources and taking advantage of that. And that boat landing that you stumbled upon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Without any signage is part of that.
And I could tell it was new.
And my third and last comment is, did you get a copy of the Seneca Square?
No, but it was really interesting because I was measuring the square, and somebody came and said, what are you doing? I said, here's the square, there's a big great plaza. They said, the mayor's already got a plan for that. So, you know what? And
No idea.
so I had no idea, because remember, I didn't want,
It's remarkable, the similarity
Is
is
it?
remarkable.
see, so what that does, it validates what you're doing.
Splash pad, ice rink, stage.
Yeah. So, no, we didn't. We want to come in, and you know what it does? I've been doing this for 35 years, since I was 10. Okay, you're not mine. I've been doing this you know what? We surveyed every program plaza in the United States. And we know they work. It's the #1 revitalization strategy in America right now, that in year-round public markets. But you know, what's cool is if it was already an idea and you already were doing plans, you just got validated by somebody who did not know that. Did not have any idea.
I got a copy.
Yeah, but that's fine, but that was our whole purpose.
We went to get a copy.
Yeah, but our whole purpose was not to come here and have have anybody on the city or anybody
I
feed us
understand that, I
information.
understand that.
But the fact that we're thinking alike just validates everything you're doing.
Remarkable.
Just remember, the key hours for that, 4 to 9. It's where we go after working on weekends. So yeah, great. And then, yes.
I appreciate your presentation too, and I do a lot of work with Star Rock in tourism, and you're right, they come in, they go on the hiking fields, and at the end of the day, they're looking for some place to go. And unfortunately, Utica hasn't gotten that yet. I keep telling people
Right.
there,
Oh, man. They
open up at 1 and stay till 9. Don't open up at 10, because they're out hiking.
Right.
So, and
It's an
Star Rock
opportunity
is
for
putting-
Oglesby.
Star Rock is putting Oglesby on the map. So we really do need to shout out and say, come this way.
You've got the money, right? To me, it's like, my gosh, it's right there. And the fact that they're open year-round, and they do conferences and conventions, and, it's just, to me, it's like, holy smokes. And for people, I don't want people in Oglesby to panic that we're gonna try to get 3.5 million people into downtown Oglesby. But heck, if you could get 1% of them,
Yeah.
you'd be doing a lot better. It's there for the asking, it's there for the taking.
Yeah.
They're trying to spend money. And you're right, if you know what, if Utica's not doing it, they got a cute little downtown, but you know what, it's your opportunity, and guess what, you won't just get visitors, you're gonna get LaSalle Peru, they're coming down here because they know you got life after sex. And by the way, we're not talking about drinking, we're talking about family, activities, culture, art, not just the drinking. I mean, we went in a bunch of these towns and go, how many bars can you have? And then I started making sense, all this no alcohol in the bar.
And a lot of people have come up to me when I'm downtown and they'll ask, are there any places to eat that does not have a bar? Because they get children and they don't like the foul language. The bar's right in the restaurant there.
Right.
And they wanted to eat off the premise of Star Rock. They've been there all day, they wanted to see what else is out there.
And your restaurants, I put them on there because they're the best of Oglesby.
Yes.
You still got, it's a pretty low bar, and I'm really sorry. I think the breakfast skillets at Cindy's are great. I thought the fried chicken was really good, but you really don't have any fine dining at all. What I've seen in Peru, and of course we were hanging out where all the big boxes, not in the downtown, but I think those things will come. As you start attracting in visitors that have more money to spend, all of a sudden it'll be feasible for restaurants, and there's nothing wrong with the ones you have at all. There's nothing wrong with them. The service was good in all of them. They were very nice. But I just think that you have some room to grow, but how do you do it? We need somebody that will start here and then come here at the end of the day. And if you do those 2 bookends, your adventure center or visitor, whatever you want to call it, and then create your plaza and program it, I think that you're going to get locals who are going to be hanging out here. Remember, you've got 5,500 locals within 3 miles. They have no place to go hang out. And you would give it to them. And that's who's first, is your locals. So, yes.
Thoughts on forming a destination Oglesby team? What have you seen communities, how you put that together, who does it, how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, the Destination Oglesby team, or